Okay, this just completely messed me up. I went on YouTube and it said that you can't upload videos from your webcam anymore. So I'm gonna have to do this on my phone, which is fine, but I had a whole plan. Okay. Anyway, so I wanted to make this video about the ego because obviously a lot of us, including myself, have completely misunderstood what it is, and that's not to say that I've completely figured out what it is, but I just want to share with you guys what I have came to understand thus far. So I'm going to try to make this in two parts. I'm going to try to hit it within 15 minutes apiece. Okay. And I'm looking up at my screen because I have notes on my screen. So a lot of my notes came out of from me studying the Bible. What I noticed in the Bible was that, the word, when Jesus was saying I this and I that, the word there for I is ego. Okay. So the ego was expressed through multiple characters when they said I. It was also expressed through Paul, through John the Baptist, through Peter, through Zechariah, and through Gabriel. So that tells me right there that the ego functions through different faces and different forms. Now, it plays a large role in creation, or what I call create sun, S-U-N, or S-O-N. So in the Bible, when Jesus said, I am the light of the world, well, the word there for I was ego. And the word for world is cosmos. So what it really said was that the ego is the light of the cosmos. Pretty sure it was talking about the sun. Okay. So that means that the ego is the sun. Okay. Now, before we get into the ego being the sun, well, what birthed it? It had to come from the zero, right? Or the dark waters of noon. Well, it came from the mother of all. Zero birthed one. One is the first step outside of the womb, being zero. Or it is the illusion that is outside of the all. So that tells me that for it to, for the mother or the feminine aspect of birth, anything had to already be within it. So that tells me that there's a feminine aspect of the ego as well. Okay, so there's a feminine aspect of the ego under the zero, operating through the zero, and then there's the masculine operating through the one, or the I. When the Bible says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the word there for I is the ego. The Alpha would be the one. Alpha means one or first. The Omega would be the zero. The Omega, is zero. In Greek is a O. Now, what's happening is that the one that stepped outside of the zero, or that was birthed through the mother, is experiencing an individual animation of itself. And over time, it forgets that its experience is an illusion, and it forgets that it came from a source, or it forgets that, that its individuality is not really real. We think that we have this individual existence, and we really do not. We're really all the same source, and we just look different and function different, but we're really all the same source. So the ego has a lot to do with time as well. In that same scripture where it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, it also says, I am the one who is, who was, and who is to come. Well, that's talking about the past, the present, and the future. Okay. And then it says the Almighty. Well, mighty is might. M-I-T-E, which is time. T-I-M-E. Same word. Okay. So that tells me that the ego has a lot to do with time. Again, that will be tying into, the masculine aspect of the ego. Now, masculine, it's masculine because it's I, or it's one because it's a line. Masculine. So on my page, sometimes when I talk about the masculine I'm talking about the physical aspect of our existence. So I would write it like this. I'm gonna see if I can show you on this phone. Because the masculine aspect is telling us that we are in school. Can you see that? Masculine in school, in the mother school. Okay? That is the physical aspect of our existence. So we all started off as an egg, as a menstrual egg. And we grew. An egg is an ego. That would be within. Okay? So we grew from that egg. And what we experience is an egg go. An egg in motion. That go part on it would be the number 60. Well, that's time. 60 seconds, 60 minutes, that's time. I like to say that we grew into a gross egg, which means a large egg. Because the word gross means 12. Okay, so that's you and the 12 so-called disciples, or I like to call them disciplines, because they have to do with you learning the different energies as you go through the zodiac. Okay, so, earlier I said that the ego is the sun. And to further confirm that is because the word for sun is soul, S-O-L. Well, that's solo, S-O-L-O, one, or I. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. That entire sentence is telling you about the masculine energy, or the sun. I and the Father are one. I is masculine because it's a line. The Father is Peter. A Peter is a penis. I cannot believe this dog. I swear he gets on my nerves. A Peter is a penis, and it's representing penetration, which that's what light is. So when Jesus said, I and the Father are one, it's talking about fire and light. Okay. He's going to wait. It's talking about fire and light. Fire and light is one. He said, well, if you see me, you seen the Father. Okay, well, if you've seen the sun, then you've seen light. If you've seen fire, then you've seen light. So, again, the ego is the sun. Okay? Now, again, it being tied into time, right? Because it's going through the zodiac. So, your sun sign will really be what your ego is. Okay? However, the word birthday in Greek is Genesia. So, that's referring to your genes. So, like I said earlier, I think that the ego functions as a true self, and it also functions as a false self. So the true self will be the within you. The true self will be before you came out, before you became birthed into this false illusion. That is when the orgasm first happened, or the Big Bang first happened within the womb. So your true birthday, in my opinion, is, or the true birthday of your true self will be at your conception. Okay, your false self will be when you were actually born into this illusion. Now the ego, as the sun, or as your sun sign, you're going through the entire zodiac. And just to back up a little bit, something I forgot to say about Jesus, that Jesus is a metaphor for a lot of different things, but I know that he's also Isis, okay? Because in Greek, his name is I-E-S-U-S. Well, that's Isis. Isis is the two serpents on the pole. Two S's. What pole? The equator. Okay, I'm going to draw it for you. The equator is a line, and then the two S's wrap around that line. And they go around I think it's called the ecliptic. And they make those two serpents on the pole, which make a number 8. You see it? That's the two serpents going around a pole. That's your Isis. And it has to do with healing your genes over time. Okay, so it's causing you to forget, and it's helping you remember that you're going through a cycle just like the seasons. So the masculine aspect of time has to do with patterns and repeating and echoing, because the word pattern is patar, or Peter. Again, a Peter is a penis, representing penetration of light. When you're saying repeat, you're also saying Peter. Repeat, Peter. Repeat, Peter. Time repeats. Every day the sun goes through the same cycle over and over again. We go through the same seasons over and over again. It's a pattern, okay? And also to repeat something is to echo it. Well, echo is ego. So all of those have to do with the masculine aspect of the ego. What's happening is through time, we're forgetting. We're forgetting that, again, that this is an illusion, and we're forgetting that we are all really one source. The word forget has the word ego in it, okay? And the word orgy, as in an orgasm, also has the word ego in it, because that's how you got here. You got here through an orgy, or an orgasm, rather. And they all have to do with forgetting your true self over time. How else do I know that, it has to do with time and remembering? Because Jesus said, you remember that I told you these things in John 16:4. I don't remember what he was talking about, but I just wrote down because he was reminding them that I told you these things already. Okay, so when he said that, he was functioning as the ego. And also in Zechariah said, I am an old man. Well, the word there for I is ego. So it's really saying that the ego is an old man. It's telling you that the ego has to do with forgetting because it gets old over time. But then going through the pattern of Isis going around that pole, you do come back and remember. Also, the word forget in Arabic is tansa, T-A-N-S-A. Well, that's Satan, S-A-T-A-N. Okay? Satan represents light, because that's the adversary of darkness. I made a video called Satan and Your Akashic Records, if you want to get a little bit more into how Satan causes you to forget. I don't remember what I said in that video, though. But anyway. Okay, I want to talk about how the ego is tied into the heart. And I'm going to try to get through this in the next, 4 minutes. So ego is the heart. How do I know that? Because ego, I'm writing it down so that you can see it, is geo, okay? And geo means earth. And earth is the same word as heart. So that tells me that the ego functions through the heart. Can you see that? Okay. Ego functions through the heart. The heart represents how you feel. Feelings have more to do with the feminine aspect of self. Okay? Also, we call earth, which is heart, the mother. We call it Mother Earth. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the ego functioning through the heart has more to do with the feminine aspect of the self because it's within. Okay? However, when you express yourself through the ego, it's coming through the heart, but it's coming out of your mouth, which will be the masculine. Once you say it, it's the masculine aspect. So it doesn't always come out the way you probably intend for it to. I don't know how else to say what I'm trying to say. I don't want to call it a flat out lie because, we lie to ourselves a lot of times. But that has a lot to do with the ego. Okay, so anyway. The heart is tied to your genitals, okay? It's tied to your genitals because it's also, that's your generation. That's your generator. That is your creator. Your genitals is your creator. Your mouth is your creator. So your vagina, your penis, and your mouth, they all function through the ego because the ego has to do with creation. The ego is expressing itself through the heart, both sexually and verbally. What you say out of your mouth is directly tied to what is stored in your heart. Heart is tied into the word heard. A T is interchangeable with a D, okay? So heart, heard. A lot of what is being carried around in your heart or cared for in your heart is based on things that you have heard. You have let things sink into your ears and settle into your heart, and then it comes out of your mouth. It works like food. Okay, how it's supposed to go is when you eat food, your body keeps what's good for you and shits the rest of that out. That is how it's supposed to work with things that you hear. You take what you need and you move on, and you spit the rest of it out. But a lot of times we don't do that. We hold on to things, and so what's coming out of our mouth has a lot to do with our ego. Also, how I know that for sure is the word Lego. Lego means to speak, to call, to tell. It means to say. That will be El Ego. El means God. So speaking means the God of the ego. Or because God means nature, it means the nature of the ego. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Pick it up in the next part. The next part, I'm going to talk about how the ego is tied into sex and is also tied into our DNA or creating our DNA. All right, peace.